This is game one of the four-test MILO Cup Series between Australia and Trinidad Tobago. Welcome to the Adelaide Powerhouse. Australia's starting seven, and no Vicky Wilson at the scoring end. It's Jennifer Borlase and Nicole Cusack. A powerful centre court of Shelley O'Donnell, Carissa Dalwood and Simone McInnes. Michelle Filkey is playing her 68th test, Liz Ellis her fourth. Trinidad Tobago are led by 26-year-old Sherry-Ann Blackburn at centre. Donna Elise Charles and Melinda Mitchell are the goalers, and Carlette Nurse at wing attack. Lister Solomon is the veteran at 29, but it's only her 8th international. Simone Bowen is at goal defence, and Janelle Hepburn, a late inclusion for the injured Hazel Taylor on this tour, is goalkeeper. Well, since 1963, these teams have met 20 times. Australia has 12 wins, Trinidad Tobago 5, and there have been 3 draws. Australia must enter the series as warm favourites, if only because so little is known about their young opponents. But Anne Sargent, their style of play will not be a mystery.
Oh, exactly, Steve. As you say, a lot of unfamiliar faces, but Trinidad would like to think that's the one thing that can give them the upset over the world champs, particularly in the first test. I think, though, the style will be pure Trinidad. We can expect the love of the air that they have, aerial play, really strong in the air. And, of course, on the ground, they're tough and strong onto the ball, deceptive speed and the ability to close off space and run onto the pass. We have to say, though, too, there's a few unfamiliar faces for Australia. Joyce Brown electing to run 2 separate contingents for the four tests. So first 2 tests we'll see Marianne Murphy, first time in Australian colours, and a few new faces throughout the series.
It's 2 years since these teams have met. Let's go to the first quarter action of the first test, Australia and Trinidad Tobago. First centre pass is with Trinidad Tobago and their captain Sherry-Ann Blackburn. And I wonder if they won't be starting with a few nerves, as indeed they make the first mistake with Carlette Nurse stepping out. But they know not too much to lose, because they're certainly starting as the underdogs here, as Dalwood gets it into Borlase. And Jennifer was well short with her first shot and aggressively taken down.
And Steve, I guess some people surprised not to see Vicky Wilson, such a permanent fixture in the Australian lineup, not opening in this match. But of course Joyce Brown showing faith in her other goalers, and of course a testing ground. We don't often start without Wilson on court, and if we're seriously looking at players to take to World Championships next year, we've got to see how they run under pressure at the start of a game.
Absolutely, and who's to say that Vicky may not get injured at some stage.
But it is an ironic way for a vice-captain to start. You might think she's had the hex put on her.
Australia starts with 2 misses. Hepburn to Bowen.
And immediately, this is a very different game from that we normally watch in Australia. It's very crowded. The space is all being closed in because Trinidad and Tobago don't play with as much organisation as they do flair and excitement and fun, and they just look for the person at hand.
Filkey takes the intercept, and it's a real feeling out process going on here. We've had a minute and a half of play and no goals, but Cusack to fix that, I'm sure.
Great ball then from O'Donnell to find Cusack under the post.
O'Donnell. Well, Sue Kenny will appear in the latter half of the series. Cusack works a nice move with Dalwood. Carol O'Reilly resets it. The umpires tonight, Carol O'Reilly from Hong Kong, although when you hear her speak, you'll pick up an Irish accent. Born in Ireland, moved to Hong Kong, and Jan Carlton is from New Zealand. Jennifer Frank, Trinidad Tobago coach, someone you know well.
I know her very well. We've lined up against each other several times, and you'll notice she's not much of a smiler. She's got a beauty when she lets it go, but looking very serious as she did on court. She was a fearsome opponent. And of course now with more to worry about than just a goal shooter.
O'Donnell and Cusack again, a good one too. Good understanding on finishing, not there yet on the Australians. They missed more than their quota of the early shots, but it's 3-0 Australia out to a lead in the first 3 minutes.
Well, Trinidad have desperately looked for this long high ball into their shooter, but the hands have been unsure on that baseline. And normally hands aren't something that Trinidad's let down by.
Hepburn again in too close. And Joyce Brown equally unemotional at this stage, as coaches tend to be, at least in the early stages of a match. Might draw a grin out of them towards the end if they're on the winning side of the ledger. O'Donnell and Borlase. Well, they're just too quick at the attack end, the Australians. They've really got the moves worked out.
And Australia's low-level speed here telling a tale as O'Donnell's strong onto the ball, and a great pass to Borlase close to the post.
Trinidad Tobago really still looking to get it into the goal third for the first time.
I really think this low-level speed that Australia is able to put out relentlessly is something that could break Trinidad's back. Trinidad has ample speed, but they tend to use it in an ebb and flow situation. They'll lope along, then they'll burn onto the ball, and they love the air, so they're not used to having this low-line undercurrent going on.
And the step call against Sherry-Ann Blackburn. And the call against Simone McInnes. Contact on Blackburn, so another chance for Trinidad Tobago. They're giving away a lot of height in the circle there. None of the Trinidad Tobago players are over 178 centimetres tall, and Australia's got 180 or better.
That pass, though, was more misreading the body position of the goal attack. Mitchell wasn't set up for a baseline drop. She really was to the side of Filkey, and that high ball over the top was the wrong choice. So it's one thing having new faces out there, and it's another thing, no matter how talented they are, stringing them together.
An intimidating start from Australia, 6-0. 5 minutes gone.
And that's a start, too, that we have to concede hasn't seen Australia look absolutely at its best. A bit shaky to start from them.
Filkey to O'Donnell. Oh, that's a great ball to pick up Borlase. Centimetre perfect. She acknowledges the pass.
And we'll see here circular rotation from the shooters. Cusack out the front. Borlase drives the base. Lovely movement from the Australian shooting combination.
And Cusack has popped in another.
Cusack looking more comfortable now with 4 straight. 6 from 8 attempts.
Simone Bowen just stopped on the drive there, and Cusack picked up the easy intercept. Borlase. Australia showing no mercy at the start of this game.
Well, it's interesting. It seems to be a matter of timing. The Trinidad defenders have ample elevation, but it's the timing of when to get up there and when to attack that high ball that they seem to be lacking. And, of course, they're caught at the moment with their head spinning. Australia really fast on the ground, as we've acknowledged. Once you get a defender turning ahead, she's really lost.
Well, Cusack and Borlase really pleasing themselves. At the post there. They've just got the height and the jump on Bowen and Hepburn. Cusack again. Fairly comfortable interception by the Australians. This time McInnes took it out of the hands of Nurse and Borlase. Goal counts.
And Cusack had a lot of time to dispose of that ball. She was in the air, held up the delay of the pass, really indicating that the defenders aren't causing them too much trouble. And again, just no contest on that move.
It's all one way, and it's just about an embarrassing start for Trinidad Tobago, although a smile from Sherry-Ann Blackburn. It's never far from her face.
Well, it's not the nil part that's as much of a worry as the fact that they've had no goal attempts. So unable to penetrate the circle at all. And this is their first. They love to shoot from anywhere.
Charles. And helps to win the rebound by a wing attack, Carlette Nurse. Charles again.
And that's a nice shot, showing off the low Caribbean action. Disappointing in the defence line. I think they've been caught flat-footed several times when you would expect them to be up there having a go at the ball. And not too much effort to block the run of the Australian girls, which is something that, I've spent my life having to play against the Trinidad line, that blocking player that won't let you get past, that every time you turn around you're being shirt-fronted.
We just saw again Charles stepping into Liz Ellis, and Liz Ellis quite rightly standing her ground. And the shot was well short. And at the other end, Borlase makes it 19-2.
We'll see a bit more body here in the circle. You'll see Hepburn put it up to Borlase there. Borlase works, gets around the block. She ends up taking it, so good work from her to get around it and steady on the shot.
Borlase has slotted in another. 2:30 left in the first quarter.
Steve, in the press today, the Trinidad girls hoping to create some records, as have their cricketers, but might be the other way around, I think.
Yes, they're very proud of Brian Lara. Sherry Ann Blackburn was saying at the government reception for the team yesterday. They don't look like replicating his effort, at least in this first test, as finding their feet a little.
That's good work then from Lizzie Ellis. She was well over the ball. Of course, as we've noted, it's a low release from the Trinidad shooters. And of course, as soon as Donna Elise Charles steps in, Ellis doesn't have to concede as long as she's 3 feet from that landed foot, so well covered by the young Australian goalkeeper.
Cusack has it.
Obstruction keeper. Bad control, obstruction goal defense.
Trinidad Tobago, of course, missing from the last World Tournament in '91 and an '87 equal second with Australia.
Bad obstruction center.
But this is basically a very young, untried side. Here they are on the fly, but Ellis took it out of the hands of Melinda Mitchell. Cusack finishes a delightful end-to-end move from Australia, started by Lizzie Ellis.
Nice work there coming down court from the Trinidad skipper, but Lizzie Ellis reading the play beautifully, strong onto the ball.
Inside the last minute of the first quarter, and it's been just about all Australia. Milky, Cusack, and Borlase makes an easy passage to close to the post. Well, wasn't her best shot. Perhaps not finished the quarter, but there's probably time enough for another one. Nurse, Solomon, Blackburn, Carlette Nurse, Charles.
And again, not much movement onto the ball. It's really holding space and one step offers. Again, the foot prone into Liz Ellis, which is bringing the whole shooting side of the body towards the defender's arm.
Mitchell. And got that in just before time was blown for the end of the first quarter. And it was... I'm just wondering if they're going to credit it to her. Oh, yes, they have. They put up the third goal. So a great first quarter from Australia. Trinidad Tobago will surely improve. Just caught a little on the hop there, and we'll hope for better things from them in the second quarter. 22-3, Australia leads. Chris Adelaide gets the second quarter underway, and 22-3 suggests that Trinidad Tobago didn't have enough of the ball.
Exactly, and there's no point even looking at the amount of conversion, although that was only 30% for Donna Elise Charles. It's the lack of ball, only 7 attempts in that first quarter compared to a mammoth effort for Australia. And of course the accuracy there, sitting on 75%, 71% for Australia with Borlase and Cusack. They can lift that. They're not really under a great deal of pressure. It's the volume of attempts they've had that's so impressive for the Australian line. The other stat, Steve, that isn't shown there was that Trinidad and Tobago had 18 turnovers against them, 11 of which were capitalised on by Australia and became goals for Australia. So you just can't afford 18 errors in international netball and expect to win the match.
Charles put up the long-range shot. Ellis to restart for Australia. O'Donnell and Listra Solomon coming together. Contact against Solomon.
Solomon's been on the deck 3 times so far in the game. I think Shelley O'Donnell really making her work hard.
average age of the Trinidad Tobago team 24, Australia 26. But the bigger difference in experience is the number of internationals they've played. Australia has 295 between the 10 of them that are here tonight, and Trinidad Tobago just 93. So, you know, some 200 internationals difference.
Oh, for sure. It's not a matter of chronological age. It's a matter of netball age. And there's a lot of talent. I mean, you can see the skill, the athleticism, and you can see the hands. It's a matter of being out there against top nations and having to match it. And it's a tough ask, you know, being out of the international arena for so long and then playing the world champions who are very comfortable in that status and very determined to maintain it.
Melinda Mitchell, the goal for Trinidad Tobago.
And just as we're talking of the skills, there's one fired into the post.
Obstruction, penalty pass. Obstruction.
Ball ace.
There's a lot of pride, too, in the Trinidad and Tobago netball teams, and they've got a history of really putting out strong challenges to Australia. So their coach, Jennifer Frank, as we've noted, an old adversary of mine, will not be content with that sort of scoreline. She'll be putting it to them to see improvement in each quarter, and particularly across the series. I think we can expect that.
I saw that with Jamaica last year. Filkey to O'Donnell, and Cusack coasting along the baseline on the end of a good pass. Jennifer Frank on the right, Janet Bailey, the manager, and Robin Gill on the left as sort of guest physio, I suppose we'd say, from the Garble Club.
They're not giving away too much there, are they? Well, that was unhindered traffic for Australia down court, able to make good ground, easy access. Interruption, though, from Janelle Hepburn. I think the circle defenders just lifting their workload a bit at the start of this quarter. They've been able to get up in the air and match the lead better. It's just the end of the lead now that they're falling away from.
Losing it was Melinda Mitchell, under pressure from Filkey. And always shedding that pass. Another emphasis, long bounce pass meant for Mitchell.
Contact keeper, penalty pass.
Not something you see a lot of here, is it? The long bounce pass.
No, it's not encouraged. I think the straight, direct lines encourage more here. Of course, the bounce gives more time to a defender to get across.
Dalwood, Cusack, ball ace.
Trinidad. Safe.
Solomon. Bowen looking for Nurse.
Notice the Trinidad mid-court playing deep down court. Their wing attack, Carlette Nurse right down on the defence transverse line. So it's a really unstructured free style of netball.
Well, Nurse didn't see that one coming. All too easy as Cusack drives to the post.
Touch there from Simone McInnes. Cusack picking up the scraps. High, long ball to Borlase, and then the double up to Cusack under the post.
O'Donnell.
Fast obstruction. Barnett obstruction. Obstruction.
Borlase.
Count the goal. Next one further out.
It's early days to sort of make a judgment about the umpiring, but just having come from New Zealand, this match really being umpired in a quite different way to what we saw in New Zealand, with now here with a New Zealand umpire and one from Hong Kong via Ireland. Of course, we had neutral referees neutral umpires in New Zealand. But contact interpretation is already standing out in my eyes.
Well, it's far more open, and in fact, we haven't really noticed them, I guess. They haven't intruded into the game as much, allowing a lot more flow.
Barnett offside.
Interesting, Steve, just as you were making that comment, Michelle Filkey virtually had to peel Melinda Mitchell off her as she made the lead. There were arms and legs wrapped around her, so she just whipped them away and kept the drive on. That's really more the aggressive style that we've come to know. Elbows and limbs everywhere. And deceptive too, because they're quite long limbs.
Penalty pass Australia.
So when you think you're clear, you often pick up a knee on your way around. It's still moving across your pathway.
Blackburn was in the circle offside. Ball ace. And regardless of the result or the margin here, Trinidad Tobago with a couple of days to assess what happens here and improve for the Brisbane Test at Entertainment Centre at Boondall on Saturday night.
Of course, for Trinidad, they're looking to build a lineup, and that they really have the ability to work 7, 8 or 9 and strengthen them across 4 tests. Australia, despite having the wealth of talent, will have to put a few different lineups out, and that in itself can be a difficult task.
Oh, so fast down court, even with the fumble at the other end.
That's beautiful stuff. That's great work from Australia. And this one has it all. Acrobatic speed, some nice directional changes across court. And we pick up Cusack at the tail end with a beautiful drive across the base.
38-7. Ball ace. Well, Bowen and Hepburn are getting a lesson down there from Cusack and Borlase. O'Donnell and Dalwood doing the feeding all too easily. In fact, it's mostly Shelley O'Donnell.
And she's very comfortable off the line to the centre. There's no contest, no deterrent to stop her getting out for the ball. And Australia, of course, finding the drive well to the circle as well. So having a bit of a field day. Great shot.
Melinda Mitchell. And the Powerhouse crowd enjoying that long goal.
Well, when they can put the shots through with such ease, you'd just be distraught not to give them more ball.
The give and go went out the back for Australia.
3 shooters on court with 100% for the quarter. Melinda Mitchell for Trinidad and Tobago, their goal attack. Granted only 2 from 2, but nevertheless 100%. Borlase 10 straight, Cusack 7 straight.
Thank you.
Oh, kept in, but only for Australia's benefit by Mitchell. Bowen picks it up and McInnes re-intercepts. Nurse. Charles.
Contact, goal defense, pass.
And Filkey the contact, so a chance for Melinda Mitchell. 1:45 out from half-time. And she continues to shoot well. And a bit more possession. They might start to chip away at the lead, but it's 31 at the moment. Cusack.
And again, Australia just dropping out from the defenders. Plenty of space available to them.
Blackburn, Charles and into Mitchell. Well, Australia has already improved on their record-winning score. Previous to this, 31 was the biggest margin.
Contact, goal defense, pass. Where the goal defense is standing, please.
Also, when Australia last toured Caribbean 2 years ago, they won the tests there by 12 and 11. So there's been a big change between then and now.
Offside, 15, free pass Australia.
Grant them half a dozen goals for playing at home as well.
Contact, penalty pass.
Cusack.
And 10 apiece for Borlase and Cusack. No misses.
Filkey. No one around her. Easy one to pick up. O'Donnell. Borlase even under pressure. Somehow she got that.
Well, they really had 3 defenders in the circle. Solomon was in there too.
Well, whilst that looked a better quarter from Trinidad Tobago, they started to find their way into the circle a little better. It's still an intimidating lead for Australia at half-time, 43-10. Some changes to tell you about in a moment. But first of all, a look back at those second quarter stats, Sam.
Well, I really think Australia should lift the game in goals, personally. 11 from 11 for Jenny Borlase, 100%, and Nicole Cusack, 10 from 10. So just reflecting the ease with which they're playing, and wonderful shooting stats for the Australian duo. Trinidad and Tobago lifting in that second quarter, both in possession, which was dramatically improved from their first, and also in accuracy, lifting to 4 from 7 for Donna Elise Charles, and also 3 from 4 for Melinda Mitchell. So slowly we're seeing the improvement, and Trinidad able to find their shooters more frequently in that second period.
A great moment for 25-year-old Marianne Murphy, who's on the court for the first time in a full international for Australia. We've played at under 21 level several times, but Marianne Murphy, physio from Sydney.
Marianne, of course, part of the Australia B team that went so well in New Zealand, playing a series of matches when the Australia A team was doing some damage against the Kiwis, and had a great Super League series. You know, she's had a year off, and you'd never know it. Year off netball overseas in England.
Kath Harvey also on for Australia, replacing Liz Ellis. And for Trinidad Tobago, Melinda Mitchell from goal attack has moved back to wing attack. Carlette Nurse is off. There's Harvey, favourite with the South Australians, of course.
She's already making a presence felt in this game, but the umpire pinged her for that one, but it was a nice move. Promise of things to come from her. She's an exciting player.
Simone Bowen at goal defence has been replaced by Deborah Baines. So Trinidad Tobago looking for something improved.
Contact, goalkeeper, pass the shot. Just there.
Janelle Hepburn has drawn a lot of whistle through the first 2 quarters. Borlase, 47-11. And already Australia outscoring Trinidad Tobago 4-1 in the first 2 minutes of this third quarter.
Replay, free pass Australia.
Mitchell it was, the replay, so Australia deep into attack again.
And a passionate fight by Sherry-Ann Blackburn. She's always got a smile on her face. That was a spirited challenge.
Cusack and Blackburn.
She's getting into this game.
Ah, yes. Well, she leads the team at training. It's an interesting training session to watch. Run with military precision.
Yeah, the warm-up.
It's fun to watch, actually.
Well, they didn't really do it in the warm-up to this match, but it's often quite threatening to see, as you say, the military precision with which they take their warm-up laps and start the training.
Not only do they run in double file, but they run in step.
They sing. Didn't learn any army songs.
No, if they sing to themselves.
It's interesting to see that that's so precise, and then when they play, it's quite free-form and flamboyant.
Again, Hepburn the contact, Borlase the shot.
The Australian shooters starting this third quarter as they finish the second in perfect form.
Tricia Roberts put out of play.
Structure on both players aside.
Charles trying a little sleight of hand from behind. Jan Carlton, the umpire, not having anything of it.
Sorry, free pass, offside goal defence.
Well, Sherry-Ann Blackburn is fun to watch because she enjoys herself out there, even on the wrong side of the scoreline.
Umpire just confusing herself then. Carol O'Reilly meaning to say a free pass to Trinidad and Tobago, but called Australia. Of course, that after Sherry-Ann's challenge of the sideline ball threw them into chaos. They're right now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and it's back again.
And Tricia Roberts gave up the contact off the ball. Murphy, Borlase. Dalwood. to Borlays.
Defenders still giving far too much room to the Australian shooters. Really not in a position to contest the ball. Murphy fires one to Borlays. Puts Dowd on full stretch, who renegotiates the feet to find Borlays again on the drive to the post. Lovely work from Australia. Joyce Brown watching the players keenly there. You wouldn't think they were so far up, would you, to have a look at her? Really intent on everything being perfect.
Ever serious and 100% professional, Joyce Brown.
Probably is a good thing for Australia to be able to relax on a different style of netball temporarily. They had a really tough time in New Zealand, and a timely reminder that New Zealand's rebuilding and on line towards the World Championships in Birmingham next year.
Yes, and if you were Borlays and Cusack or someone like Marianne Murphy trying to get into the team, you'd probably rather play the first two tests when Trinidad Tobago maybe caught a bit flat. 41, the lead.
Joyce Brown yelling out to mix it up so that we see some variety from the Australian team. That, of course, is the danger when you're outplaying an opponent, that you just rely on the things that are going well. And, of course, Joyce Brown will be looking to a flawless performance and should be looking to variety and all the things they've been experimenting with to be put into practice. I mean, this isn't the sort of preparation you want looking into World Championship year. You want to play something tough and know where you stand against it. So for Trinidad, it's a measure of their rebuilding. For Australia, it's probably a false sense of security.
Harvey, the restart at 54-12, halfway through this third quarter. Dalwood, long pass to Murphy. Borlays.
Shooters working very high out of the circle with a split from the top.
And Cusack finishes a very fluid move from the Australians, 55-12.
This appears to be a set move. See the shooters splitting at the top of the circle, both taking it wide, picking up Cusack on the drive to the base. Cusack will finish for Australia.
Blackburn, long ball for Roberts. Oh, picked that up well. She is left-handed and drilled it in with the left hand.
Solomon finding Bain. Aerobatics from their skipper, and the high ball called in well by Roberts, and she'll be on the board with this one.
Offside with defense, free pass.
58-13, 3:30 left in the third quarter. 15-3 Australia's won this quarter. Second quarter was best for Trinidad Tobago so far with 7 goals.
Defense, offside, centre. Obstruction, goal, defense. Practice, goal.
Blackburn.
Certainly couldn't say there's any sense of urgency from Trinidad and Tobago to play catch-up netball to really... I don't think they've changed much in the way they're attempting intercepts. There's no roughhouse tactics come out when they've been failing. I think they've just kept going on a steady, even pace. I mean, there's been the odd knee and odd elbow that have come out, I think, unintentionally a lot of the time. That's a slight disappointment from Melinda Mitchell. Little squeal.
Filkey, Murphy. Borlays, Murphy, Cusack. How quick was that?
And it's applauded by the Trinidad and Tobago skipper, Sherry-Ann Blackburn, who realised the sheer speed of ball beat them on every pass. Long ball here from Kath Harvey to Filkey on the drive through the middle. Murphy, back plays to Filkey, and quick hands here from the trio.
Obstruction, goalkeeper. Obstruction.
Was watching that play intently, and with every pass, after the pass was received, the defensive arm went from where the pass had been delivered. I mean, it was just like slow-mo. The pass had gone before the reaction to defend it even came.
There were 3 passes in about a second.
Henry pass, Trinidad.
Blackburn, Mitchell. Murphy, quick. Oh, too quick for Deborah Bain, and Bain had the start on it. But over 5 metres, Murphy's pretty fast.
Obstruction, goal, defense. Obstruction, keeper. Goes to the other side.
(62-13), 1.5 left in the third quarter.
Didn't go third.
Solomon getting her knees in the way of Marianne Murphy. She's got a penalty for that action.
Advantage offside, wing defense.
Again, recoverability really of the things that's letting down the Trinidad defenders. They are all right on one move, and then when the dodge or the drop comes, they're still caught up high, out of position.
Charles.
Australia.
And they're playing as they practice. Once they get into the circle, they're quite happy to shoot from wherever they've got it. There's not often a look for improvement in position once they're inside shooting range.
Contact, penalty pass.
I should laugh. Mitchell just ran so nonchalantly around the outside of McInnes and knocked the ball away. Just really casual. Not a laughing matter, I know, for the kids at home, but it was like a relaxed thing to do. It was like a training run sort of thing to do.
Contact, goal
Completely
attack,
outside the
penalty
rules.
pass, Australia.
And a contact off the ball. So Harvey. Chance to set Australia going again.
Back to the penalty goal attack team.
And Tricia Roberts just being set back beside Harvey as well.
Advantage, contact, shooter. Contact, bring it back.
Steve, we were horrified by the amount of contact called against the Australian girls in New Zealand, particularly our attack line, which you wouldn't expect to pick up so much. Well, it's Melinda Mitchell who's picked up at least 5 in that section for Trinidad, so another attack attracting the whistle.
So no goal there at the end. The ball didn't get through before the whistle. And at three-quarter time, Australia improving the lead again. And they're out by 50, 63-13. Dalwood gets the fourth quarter underway, and Trinidad Tobago will be looking for more goals. They were restricted to 3 in that third quarter.
Yes, dropped slightly down from the possession they enjoyed in the second, but the stats are rising for them. 66% for their shooter. Still not getting 2 shooters firing at the same time, which is disappointing. Australia, by comparison, ample possession and ample accuracy. As Wilson puts one on the board, her first of the match, but Borley is 100% for 2 quarters running. That's impressive work for her.
Vicky Wilson, the new Australian vice-captain, and saved until the final quarter before getting a run in this first test. And also the Australian defenders have swapped Bibbs, Filkey and Harvey, as have Bain and Hepburn for Trinidad Tobago. Dalwood. Oh, rocket of a pass from Wilson across to Murphy.
Penalty pass.
So no respite for the Trinidad Tobago defenders with the world's best shooter coming on in the fourth quarter, and you're already down by 50.
Hurry back to the goal attack, delaying the centre pass.
We should have to be concentrating to improve Borley's stats on the last 2 quarters. I think that might be beyond her improvement. I think she can equal it, though. Wilson, of course, renowned for her ability under pressure to put in that sort of statistic, more so than in a match that's comfortably won.
Wilson had a very solid tour of New Zealand, and if she wasn't in the sort of form that she was, Australia may well not have won the first 2 tests on that tour.
That's true. Amongst a lineup that perhaps wasn't playing at its best, she was very strong, and I guess that might have been the thing that's overturned the vice-captaincy situation. But I'm sure she sees the irony in playing her first match as vice-captain from the bench for 3 quarters. But as we said earlier, that's no doubt to see what others can do. We know what Wilson can do at the start of a match. Joyce Brown obviously wanted to see what other talented players can do. And the answer is not a bad job. Filkey had her eyes on that from release, took front position. Good work from the Australian skipper.
Yes, Hepburn way too ambitious with that pass. Filkey read it coming.
Wilson changing the leads with Nikki Cusack, just rearranging the attacking formation. Just working left-hand side of the court.
Wilson.
4 from 4, a fair entry into the game.
Roberts back to Hepburn, and the long ball in for Charles. It was disappointing that they weren't here in '91 for the World Championships. Did you ever get your head around the right story about why they couldn't come? Was it mainly financial?
Yes, it was. I think, you know, political difficulties, but mainly the finances involved. They, of course, had had a ban on them for an action in a previous international that didn't sit well, but financial reasons have been cited as the official reasons for their absence.
Oh, Murphy fires one in at Cusack.
Deborah Bain at a loss to find out what's going on, as well as the umpiring decision. As Cusack trips and dives under that pass. Umpire inviting the other umpire to offer a decision on that, appealing for a decision on the infringement. The toss is given.
Hepburn won it, but Murphy was quick to get a hand on it, but then the defence from Bain. So it's a little scrappy, but in the first 4 minutes of this final quarter, it's 6-0 to Australia. They keep Trinidad Tobago under 20 goals. It'll be a very important defensive effort from Australia, and their attack hasn't let them down either.
Well, we're going to be looking here for the long, high bomb, but more interesting, there's good understanding here. Would appear to me that there's recognition the other goaler was on the base. Yes, we've got Nat Avellino, Sarah Sutter appearing in the second Australian lineup for the final 2 tests.
Filkey still trying to contest the ball as she goes to the floor. And Dalwood has turned an ankle, I think.
Ankle very much indicated on that fall. Certainly stumbled.
Well, Carissa Dalwood is going to continue. She doesn't look that pleased about it, but don't have much choice, do they, Ed?
Well, they've made their 3 substitutions, and she is hobbling on that ankle, but might find if she can get herself going, it might free up a little. Doesn't look like it'll be too comfortable at the end of the game, though.
Well, 75-16, she can afford to coast home, make sure she doesn't do it any further damage. She's still trying to flex it there, as you can see. Certainly one of the fitter players in international netball, Carissa Dalwood. Ouch.
It's just what she didn't need. Of course, putting her back as wing attack doesn't really help, because it puts her into a position where she has to do far more directional changes, so that's not going to give her any comfort. Running the straight line would be preferable for her. Joyce Brown, of course, wouldn't sacrifice a player needlessly.
And the Grace Bryant coming out to check on something with Kath Harvey this time. Problem with a finger. Murphy absolutely free. Cusack. Wilson on the stretch. Dalwood.
Contact, penalty pass Australia.
And the contact against Hepburn. Hepburn here for Hazel Taylor, and that was a big blow for Trinidad Tobago when she couldn't come.
Very disappointing not to see her. She's one of the more experienced players and just a great talent, a brilliant natural athlete, plays both ends of the court, but causes most havoc in goal defence, so a shame not to see her there.
And 1:30 to go. And although they've not played in an international together, Murphy, Cusack and Wilson, Murphy the newcomer, there's plenty of combination about their work. As Australia cruises towards a first test victory here, Dalwood keen to get off that sore ankle, but there was a step there, picked up by Jan Carlton. And certainly Trinidad Tobago are going to be denied their 20 goals as we hit the last minute. Roberts. Oh! The crowd was willing that one in. She does have some skills, Tricia. Coming on for the second half of this match. So Mitchell and Charles started in goals. (82-16). One more goal for Australia and they'll have got their quota of at least 20 per quarter. And the timekeeper not yet up.
Offside for Australia.
Blackburn offside.
touch and goal defence, penalty pass Australia.
Seconds ticking away as Mr. Solomon, who's been in the wars the last few minutes,
Contact keeper, penalty pass
drags
Australia.
herself to her feet. And Wilson guarantees that 20-goal quota for each quarter as Australia takes it out to 83-16, and that's all there will be. Well, it may have been a little one-sided, but generous applause for both teams from a good crowd in here at the Powerhouse in Adelaide. And plenty to be optimistic about from Joyce Brown's point of view, as all players that she put on court, and she did use all her bench, performed admirably, went on with it when the match already looked won, and 22-3 at quarter time, 43-10 at half time. 7 goals their best quarter. That was the second for Trinidad Tobago, but then in the third and the fourth they were restricted to 3 goals in each quarter, and in the end 83-16 to Australia, and Anne Sargent is with the Australian captain.
Thanks, Steve. Well, Michelle, if you're not pleased with that, you're a very hard person to please.
Very true, and we were very happy with tonight's performance. We just wanted to iron out some problems over the last few days, and I thought our ball handling tonight was really good.
Well, your ironing was pretty good. How did you feel when you looked at the scoreboard? You're something like 10 or 12 up, and there was no impression from Trinidad and Tobago.
No, there wasn't. I felt that their players took a long time to adjust to our quickness, and they'll go home and work on that, I know. And I thought in the last few quarters they came out quite physical, and we were expecting that, but the Australians held up well.
Well, you've raised, physicality. I don't think it's anywhere near what we've expected from them in the past or what we've had to enjoy from them. I thought they're a much milder group.
I thought so too, Anne. I think that the pressure they applied on us tonight was good. They were very aerial, and we expected that, but I look forward to the next test and see what comes out.
How hard is it going to be for Australia? We've got a lot more players being exposed to the series to blend them in with each new test.
It's quite difficult, but I think it's a good opportunity for them to show what they can do for next year's World Championships, and everyone's fighting for a place in that team, so those girls deserve that chance.
That's right. Well, congratulations and a great one tonight, and best of luck for the next test in Brisbane.
Thanks, Annie.
And a very pleased Michelle Filkey as the Trinidad Tobago side warmed down, and Harvey and McInnes on the bench there, and Simone McInnes just announced as the player of the match, and she picks up $1,000 of the sponsors' money. Where have Trinidad Tobago got to improve, Anne?
That's a big question, Steve. I really felt they were tentative, strong onto the ball. I think the linking is just not there from them. I think they've got to, first of all, work to cover our long, fast moves, where at the moment they're only covering a few strides at that. And I'd like to see them come off their one stride office and really work onto the ball. It's breaking down in the middle. And defensively, back in the circle, well, they've really got the head spins. They're really working hard to cover the range of moves Australia puts out. It's not just a one-move team, is it? So there's a lot of work ahead, but I think the individual talent is enough there that if it's strung together a little bit better, we'll see some good stuff from them.
A little hesitant in the start from Australia, but there really wasn't a bad player out there.
No, and I think, when you've got goalers sitting on 100% for a couple of quarters in an international, it's indicative that they're very comfortable. And then you put another one on court, she does the same. So they were never really under any pressure. The test for them is to keep blending different players through this series and maintain or improve on the margin. They won't be content to see Trinidad and Tobago come back at them.
Well, Trinidad Tobago get their chance in Brisbane on Saturday night in the second test. The replay of that is on Sunday night. Check your local guides for details of the second test, but played in Brisbane on the weekend and Sunday night for the replay. Hope you've enjoyed the first test from here at the Powerhouse in Adelaide. I'm Steve Rebellion, and on behalf of Anne Sargent, goodbye for now.
Is